We are fast approaching round 4 of the NRL, so let's see how we did in round 3 and what we're going to predict this week. Well, I did not want to be correct here as a Panthers supporter, but I had to go with my head on this one. And on Thursday, it was Storm versus Panthers. It wasn't as close as the scoreline looks, really, in my opinion. Obviously, Panthers got a late score at the end to make it a little bit closer, but I think Storm were very, very good. Panthers certainly struggling a little bit now, and I'm pretty sure Nathan Cleary was injured during the game as well, so that is not a positive kind of result and final result for Panthers in this one. Now, 1 point off a close score. Gutted. I get 1 point for the win, though. So well done, Storm. They are in second place now after playing 2 games. Okay, the next game was on Friday, Warriors versus Roosters. Roosters, oh God, their form is weird, isn't it? Down, up, down. Yeah, very, very strange performances from the Roosters. It was a low-scoring game. Warriors do seem to have that home advantage, which they didn't make the most of in their first game, annoyingly. Well, I get nothing because I went Roosters by 4 and Warriors won by 8. A decent Warriors sitting in 7th now. And actually, I do think they've got a decent chance for the top 8 this year, if they keep going and try and keep consistency. Then it was Broncos versus Cowboys. I know they had a shock defeat last week. However, I did predict them to get back onto winning ways. I did Broncos by 14 and they won by 10. It was fairly convincing, considering 96% of people went for Broncos, only 4 went for Cowboys. I'm still pretty impressed that Cowboys got 16. You know, they were massively underdogs here. They obviously didn't win, but they did score more than I thought they would. So well done to Broncos. They are doing much better. Obviously, one weird loss. I get 1.5 points. Next up, Sharks versus Rabbitohs. Another good performance here, actually, because Rabbitohs, maybe now Rabbitohs as they face a more top quality team. Don't get me started on the other game. Anyway, Sharks ran out winners. I did Sharks by 18. They won by 15. And I think, maybe now Rabbitohs have been found out. We'll decide later on. We'll decide what comes this week. But 1.5 points for me there. Then Dolphins versus Wests. Now, Wests are doing well. 2 wins out of 3 and a decent big scoreline for them. Not what I was expecting. Amazingly, actually, Wests were the favourites for this game. So fair enough. As in favourites with all of us. I did Dolphins by 10 and they lost by 12. Well done to West. That was fantastic. Some really, really good try scoring and conversions, and fair play to them. That's all I've got for you. Nothing for me on the board, though. Then it was Titans versus Knights. And another shock here. Not another shock for me anyway, because Titans ran out winners against Knights, who 2-1. That was their first loss. Already, Wests are doing better than they did last year. Titans are doing better than they did last year. Rabbitohs are doing better than they did last year. It's just Eels that are not doing as well as last year. I get absolutely nothing. Well done to Titans, though. Massive underdogs winning that one at home. They won by 20, so I get nothing. Next was Eels versus Bulldogs. This one was a given. Not quite as high scoring as I thought it would be, though. Eels were at home and they suffered an 8-16 loss to Bulldogs, which I predicted. That keeps Bulldogs top of the league. They are 3 out of 3 on really good form. However, they were only against bottom of the league there. So this table is a little bit skewed probably at the moment. And it will certainly even itself out as the season goes on. I get 1 point for the result. It's just annoying that not quite on for the close score. But the last game was the Sea Eagles versus Raiders. And Raiders, they lost. They had their first loss against a Sea Eagles team that went rampant. They went rampant. 40-12, a 28-point win. I expected a closer game than this after how Raiders have been performing and, the inconsistency of Sea Eagles' first 2 games. I thought it may be closer. I did them to win by 6. I get the result, though. The league table, then. Benjamin is still number 1 at the moment, doing really, really well. Actually, still, what's that, about just over 3 points ahead. Marty is up 7 into second. The golden hat, though, goes to third place. Craigula up 19. That's a brilliant, brilliant performance that week. Puts within touching distance. The tally man is 4th still. Up 10 is Brupel. Brotherman up 8. Up 20, Kazaraza. Well done. Up 13 is Third Nerd. Down 10 is Mighty Muffin. Up 19, G Chapman. That's very good. Up 15, AU Beach Bum. Down 19, Mad Swans fan. Down 18, Mr. Grumpy. Down 14 is Moppy G. Where am I? Up 16, Aaron. Where am I? Oh, I'm down 9. I'm down 9 to 41st. That is irritating. I want to be top 20. That's what I want. I want to be in the top half at least. Okay, who gets... Arlo, right. Arlo White. Wooden spoon for you. But you only went down 2 places, but you get the wooden spoon. Let's check out everyone else. That is how the league table finishes this week. Well, let's get cracking with this week. We start Thursday, the 27th of March at the Accor Stadium in Sydney. It is Rabbitohs versus Panthers. Rabbitohs have started really, really well. Panthers did start well with 1 game at least, and then have struggled with the last 2. Looking at it then, despite the absence of fullbacks Lateral Mitchell due to a hamstring injury, Souths have maintained a fairly strong performance this season so far. I think Jai Gray has certainly been commendable as a standing fullback. I think he's really performed and covered really, really well. Panthers, they've got really, really difficult challenges with key players sideline, like Nathan Cleary, and you'll always miss Nathan Cleary because he is top quality. He's out due to a concussion sustained in round 3, so how long he'll be out may be expected to return in round 5. Dylan Edwards also suffered an injury during the loss to Roosters as well, so I don't know. It's difficult to say form at this stage, but I'm struggling to pick Panthers at the moment. But I know they need to get into gear because, once again, they are going to fight for their 5th title in a row, which will be, wow, what an achievement. Rabbitohs, they're at home. I know it's either I go with head or heart. Head says Rabbitohs, heart says Panthers. And sometimes I go with either. So, do you know what? I'm going to go with my heart this time. I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go a tight 6-point win to Panthers. That may cost me. I'm not sure. That may cost me. I don't know. Okay, next up, Friday 28th, Allianz Stadium, Roosters versus Titans. Titans found their first win of the season last week in a cracking win. I think Roosters, if you look at that, the team has showed some resilience despite the injuries. I know they're 1 out of 3, but they do have key players returning this week, like Lindsay Collins, who bolsters the forward pack. And I think that's going to be pretty important. Now, I know Titans got a really decent win, but they do face some setbacks in terms of Kinney's neck injury ruling him out. Jalen de Groot is set to replace him, so whether he can step up, I'm not sure. I think Roosters are the stronger team. I know Titans are doing okay, much better than last season already, only 2 games in. But Roosters, after last season, they've got to up their game to get to where they were last season. And I think this is a team that should rebound, hopefully, and maybe Titans is the team to do it. And that's not writing Titans off, because I could be completely off here. Because Titans are producing decent results. So I'm going to go with Roosters, but I'm only going to do them by 2. By 2? Yeah, very tight. It's a difficult one to call. Okay, next, Suncorp. It is Dolphins versus Broncos. Broncos, obviously, with a very good win. Dolphins have been next to useless. Both teams basically playing home games. Dolphins, I know they're 3 losses out of 3, but they have shown some promise. But they just lack that consistency and ability to win those games at the moment. They are really struggling at the start of this season, whereas Broncos, welcoming back Stags from injury really does add and bolster their back line. So I can't see Dolphins winning this. I just hope Broncos don't go missing like they did a couple of weeks ago. Looking at this, I think I still stand by the fact that Broncos are looking to do better this year than they did last, find more consistency, and certainly be in that top 4 where they currently are, just about. So I've got to go with a Broncos win here. I don't see anything else other than a Broncos win. And I think I'm going to do a Broncos win. Let's do it by 12. I think not stupidly. Like I said, Dolphins, they're showing some promise. So I don't think they're going to get completely obliterated. But 2 tries, 2 conversions, that will probably do it, I think. Okay, next, Saturday the 29th at Nostrata Jubilee Stadium. Dragons versus Storm. Is there any other winner? Like, there is no winner here other than Storm, is there? Dragons, they've got an ageing roster, unproven halves. And, you know, it's just raised concerns for their competitiveness. And they are currently in 14th, and that is simply because they've played only 2 games rather than the 3. Storm are having an absolute flying start. 2 games in and 2 wins. They're just in formidable form. It's only 2 games, and you probably can't call it form, but I'm going to say it. They're in formidable form. With Ryan Pappenhausen, recent performances being particularly noteworthy indeed. They've got these standout players who are just performing so well, and they've been very, very impressive. There is only one winner here, and that is Storm, and I'm going to go by 18 points. 18 points to Storm. It's got to be a convincing win for them. It's got to be. And that could potentially push them up to top. We'll see. Next, Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Cowboys, Raiders. This is a... Don't know. I think that the Cowboys are in a bit of transitional phase. They've had key departures and injuries certainly impacting their performance. There's no doubt about that. Whereas you've got Raiders who their favourite. I say they're benefiting from a favourable draw, sort of. But they do still lack that key talent to really push them to the top. I think the return of Joseph Tapine from suspension is a boost. I've got to go with a win for Raiders. I don't think it'll be ridiculous. I just think they've got more going for them at the moment in terms of mostly decent form. They're able to score. Cowboys are just really struggling, and I think they're down in the dumps at the moment. I'm going to go with the Raiders win. Let's go Raiders win by 8. So try conversion and conversion. That second conversion just to keep them at arm's reach. Not easy, but I do fancy Raiders there. Okay, next, Sharks Stadium. Sharks versus Bulldogs. 2 teams in very good form. Bulldogs obviously undefeated at the moment, whereas Sharks obviously lost their first game. That was against Panthers. So if we're looking at this, I think Sharks under Craig Fitzgibbon's guidance, and with the addition of people like Adin Fanu-Blake, the Sharks they are aiming to do better this year. And I know it's difficult to call at the moment because, there's so many teams now on 4 points, for example, because 2 wins and 1 loss. There's only Storm and Bulldogs that haven't lost yet. This is not easy. Bulldogs, I think the Bulldogs, in my opinion, yes, they're 3 out of 3, but I don't actually think they've shown magnificent performances in all games. So I think if they face a real top team, they could come unstuck. Oh, this is not an easy one to call. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Bulldogs their first loss here. I'm going to go with 10-point win to Sharks. I just think maybe Sharks have a little bit more about them, a little bit more experience in winning, if that makes sense, if that's fair to say. So yeah, a 10-point win to Sharks. Fingers crossed. Okay, Four Pines on Sunday. Sea Eagles versus Eels. There is only one winner here as well. There's only one winner. Obviously, Sea Eagles had a bit of a shock loss a couple of weeks ago, but they're still 2-3. Eels, they've got nothing about them at the moment, have they? I think Trebejovic, after the hamstring injury coming back in, hopefully that significantly enhances Manly's attacking prowess, and I think it will be a bit difficult for Parramatta, who they just struggle. Mitch Moses out is painful for them. That really impacts their playmaking abilities. And you can only see one winner here. Sea Eagles are at home. Eels are bottom of the league. I don't see that changing, and I see a confident win for Sea Eagles. Let's do it by 18. 18 win for the Sea Eagles. And the last game at Campbelltown Sports Stadium, Wests versus Warriors. Both the same form. I've been very impressed with Wests. I've been more impressed with Wests than I have with Warriors, who obviously lost that first game at home. Not easy to call, though. Not easy to call. Obviously, Warriors are coming over to Australia. I think Tigers, they've made some key signings and stabilised the management of the team for sure. And I think that has certainly improved their prospects. I don't know if they're going to make the finals. If they keep up like they are, then they can. I think they're going to be fighting for the top 8. May just sneak in, but I think that's pretty decent for them compared to where they were last year. When you look at Warriors, they certainly face a few challenges, losing some key players and some promising talents like Tuvasashek. Not an easy one to call. Both teams pretty similar in on paper at the moment. I'm going to go with the Tigers. Tigers are going to continue their form. Let's do a Tigers win by 6. So my predictions for this week: Panthers by 6. Come on. Roosters by 2, Broncos by 12, Storm by 18, Raiders by 8, Sharks by 10, Eagles by 18, and Wests by 6. Some difficult ones to call once again. Look, I'm no expert. We're doing this for fun. I just want to be in the top half. Top 20, please. That's all I want. Hopefully, we're going to have some really good games again this week. It's just a decent league, and there are games where anyone can win, and there are lots of shock results, and that's what makes it so fun and interesting to follow. And thank you guys for following the channel and our weekly series. If you haven't already, make sure you join the Superbru competition. Links down below. If you want to support the channel, go to asweare.space to check out the merchandise. You can become a channel member. Well, thank you very much. The free thing to do is like and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you next week.